everyone, welcome to the Bridge program in mathematics. For today's video, we are going to discuss about equation. So we start with the definition of equation. Equation is a statement that two mathematical expressions are equal. For example, so we have example, let's say 2 plus 6 equals, what is 2 plus 6? It is equal to 8. Now 2 plus 6 is the first expression of this equation, while 8 is what? Is the second expression. Now in this example, we see that we have two expressions or two quantities that are equal. So this is an example of an equation. So here are the important definition of terms to remember. What are these? We have definition of terms. For the first one, solutions or roots. What do we mean by this? These are the values of the unknown variable or variables that make the equation true. So if you have an equation and then after solving the unknown variable, you have the value, and then if that value can satisfy the original equation, then that is what we call solution or root. Number two, solving the equation. What do we mean by this? Solving the equation is the process of finding the solutions. Number three, equivalent equations. Equivalent equations are two equations with exactly the same solutions. So if you have two equations and the two equations have exactly the same solutions, then you can say that they are equivalent. Number four, extraneous solutions. Now, what do we mean by extraneous solutions? These are what? These are potential solutions that do not satisfy the original equation. So if you have an equation and then you come up with a value that it cannot satisfy the original equation, then that value is what we call extraneous solution. Okay, so this time, here are some important properties of equality. So in the first column, we are going to have the property, and in the second column, we have this description. So the first property, we have A is equal to B if and only if A plus C is equal to B plus C. So in other words, if you have a quantity A which is equal to B, then it will follow that if we add the same quantity to both sides, then that equation is still the same. So adding the same quantity to both sides of an equation gives an equivalent equation. Well, number two, A is equal to B, so we can say that A is equal to B if and only if C times A is equal to C times B, where C is not equal to 0. So what does this mean? This means that multiplying both sides of an equation by the same non-zero quantity gives an equivalent equation. So the quantity that is being multiplied here is the quantity C. So that is what we mean this second property. So we have to take note that these properties require that you perform the same operation on both sides of an equation when solving it. So to understand more on the concept of equation, let's have this real life situation. So suppose you need to end up with an average of 85 on 3 midterm tests. You take note of that, average of 85 on 3 midterm tests. And then on the first 2 tests, you got 76 and 87. So 76 and 87, take note. Then the problem, what score must you get on the third test? Okay, take note that on the first 2 tests, you got 76 and 87. Then what score must you get on the third test? So how can we solve that? Okay, so here is the solution. If we let X be your score on the third test, then the average A on the 3 tests is given by this formula. A is equal to 76 plus 87 plus X over 3. Okay, because you have 3 scores on the 3 tests, 76 plus 87, and the other one is unknown, still unknown. So we want to solve that unknown variable X, which is the third score. So how can we do that? So this example is an example of an equation. So to solve this, a quantity on the left side must be equal to the quantity on the right side. So as a continuation, since you want to know, or since you want an average of 85, we set A to be 85 and get the equation. A is equal to 76 plus 87 plus X over 3. And then again, since you want an average of 85, then 85 will be substituted to the variable A. Okay. 85, which is the average. And then what's next? We have to take note. You perform the operations. Copy 76 plus 87. Okay. And then plus X. And then what's next? You multiply, cross multiply 3 times 85. Okay. Then that is equal to 76 plus 87 plus X. So then you simplify. 3 times 85 is 255. Then is equal to 76 plus 87 plus X. And then you solve for X. Okay. Solve for X. You have what? This X here. So the 255 is transferred to the right side. But actually, what we are doing here is just we subtract 255 to both sides. That's why we have X is equal to 76 plus 87 minus 255. And then since X is transferred to the left side, then the sign becomes negative. But actually what we are doing here is just we subtract a negative X to both sides. That's why we have negative X is equal to 76 plus 87 minus 255. And then you simplify. So we just multiply negative sign to both sides. Then we have X is equal to negative 76 minus 87 plus 255. When we simplify that one, so we have 92. And 92 is our solution. So therefore, you must get a score of 92 in your third exam for you to get an average of 85. So you try this. Determine if the following are equations or not. So that's your exercise or exercises. Number 1, x squared plus 3x plus 1. So is it an equation or not? Number 2, 3 plus 5 is equal to 2 plus 6. Is it an equation or not? Number 3, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And number 4, pi r squared h. So is it an equation or not? That's it. Thank you very much. And we hope that you learned something from this video. Bye.